Good morning, good afternoon, good night, and welcome to another thrilling episode of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. Today's scene will be the first of what I hope shall be many, a class written by puppies for puppies. Our scene will start, like enough with, in this case, Addie, being brought on out. I will do the roll right now so that it is validated. With a newly dedicated set of clothing, she will be asked to put on a proper full set of clothing, something where she can take off layers to be cooler or wear all of the layers to stay warm. And we will get that dedicated. Ooh. Or not, or I could fail. Fine. I see how it is. So she'll actually be told probably to bring a change of clothes with her, or a duffel to change with, and dragged out to the training grounds. Oh, Jesus. At the blah, blah, blah. Upon reaching the training grounds, she will be offered a compact mirror, given a basic idea of how to sidestep in case she doesn't know already, and slowly brought into the Umbra. Once there, she'll first change out of her clothes, pop to Lupus, then sidestep, because the best way to not ruin all of her things. And once there, Maebh will join her and begin classes, because this is the best place to do it, most likely. Okay, Addie. How much do you remember from all that crazy stuff I told you last night?
General sort of vague knowledge. I remember most of it, but like everything else is kind of fuzzy.
Okay, do you remember the forms?
There's Hamid. There's the form where we bulk up.
Mm-hmm. The near human is called Glabro.
There's Krynos,
Mm-hmm.
war form, where you, Krynos. Then there's the form that's bigger than Krynos, but a little more wolf-like. And then there's Lupus.
All right. The one in between, that is called Hispo, and it is the direwolf form, or the near wolf. It's where you go down on four legs, but you stay big and you stay muscular.
Okay, so Hamid, what was the second one?
Glabro.
Hamid, Labro, Krynos, Hispo, Lupus. Hispo, Lupus.
Mm-hmm.
Hamid, Hispo, Lupus. Okay. I sort of remember them all.
Hey, as long as you remember that there are 5 of them and vaguely what they are, you're doing pretty good. It takes a little while to remember all the new words.
Sweet.
Okay, so we've done those. And did I go over all the moons with you? I can't remember. All right.
No, you just said that my birth date fell on a moon that made me a theurge.
Yeah.
And then you were like really excited, and then
there were tangents. I'm pretty sure there were tangents. So let's start with that then. So she'll hunker down, and again, Addie has been encouraged to take her Lupus form. If she doesn't understand how, Maebh will have walked her through the process just enough to get her there the first time. It's probably a little weird, but
very weird.
Just for the sake of, I'm fairly sure we're supposed to be Lupus in the Umbra, so
okay, yeah, that's like a rule thing. It's a rule. You got to be Lupus in the Umbra. Hamid when there are no police in the other.
Well, Hamid and Tellurian until the police are out of the park and the high ban has been lifted. Basically, these are special rules. This isn't always the rules.
Okay.
So Maebh
Lupus form, so she's good.
So Maebh will be, for the moment, in Hamid, essentially breaking the rules, just to make sure that as necessary she can shift or give visual aids. So what she's doing now is she's going to settle down on the ground. And essentially, since this is the Umbral reflection of the training grounds, it's very much the same. It's a little wonky, maybe a little off color, maybe a little uncanny, but everything is essentially the same, which means that there is still dirt, for example, which she's going to start drawing in. She's grabbed up a stick from nearby, and in the dirt is going to carefully draw out a series of moon phases. And she will probably draw them now that she knows the glyphs a little bit better using the Garu glyphs, which I can totally link you in a minute. So all the way from new moon to full moon. And she'll touch each one with a finger as she speaks. So this is a symbol for the new moon. We call werewolves that are born under the new moon Ragabash.
Rustle.
A Ragabash.
Rustle,
Oh.
rustle. Rustle in the bushes. Rustle, rustle.
You feel like if she could twitch her ears, she'd be doing it right now.
He'll look around like, what?
I really hope that's Lucas. Because if it's not Lucas, I could be in trouble.
Rustle, rustle, rustle. The rustling goes ahead and starts to circle you, Maeve.
She just sighs in acceptance. Like, you can see the acceptance. Tackles
What-
are probably coming.
What form are we currently in?
Tackles?
Maeve is in Hamid currently because she wants to be able to teach a bit better.
Oh, damn. I was gonna pounce on you.
You could probably still do it as long as you were careful.
Okay. Pounce! From the bushes comes the brown wolf with matted fur, all different colors and shades and, well, just colors.
So,
Maeve!
Maeve gets wolf tackled. Amusingly, as this is happening, you'll hear the rustling, you'll hear it shifting around, and Maeve will look puzzled at first and then kind of sigh acceptance while she's talking to the thing in the bushes. And by the time he actually tackles her, she just kind of grins and gets over onto her side. She was already sitting, so it's not much of a big deal. She does, however, start kind of batting with her hands at Lucas's face and just kind of stroking down the face from top to bottom in a way you have to imagine is really obnoxious. Face petting.
I'll look between
the
them and
wolf.
kind of back away a little, just like,
wolf.
weirdos.
Mm-hmm. The wolf goes ahead and presses his muzzle against Maeve's face, neck, and hair. Maeve, 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 Maeve.
What?
You're in the wrong form.
Okay, fine. And she'll sigh and take a moment, and does not seem to mind that Lucas is literally on top of her while she goes through the process of shifting. He will probably get shuffled off at least a little, because in order to go from one end to the other, you have to go through all those in the, like, along the way. So at some point, she's probably going to get big enough that he kind of topples off of her before she shrinks back down. Okay, fine.
Who's the new girl?
This is Addie.
I am the new girl, Addie, from the other day. Hello.
Shove. Fury. The urge.
Hello.
Well, sort of Fury. But yeah, definitely the urge.
Lucas goes ahead and looks at her. Hi, I'm Lucas. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Were you the other one from yesterday? He, like, threw a bag at you, I think?
Who threw it back at me?
No, me. He, like, threw
he-
a bag.
He was one of the ones who was outside.
Okay, so I've seen you before, but haven't met you. Hello.
You probably
Hi.
got a glimpse of him, yeah. He was the one who was sitting on the porch.
Cool.
It's
Well,
nice to meet you.
yes. Are you going to learn all the rules again, or are you just here to, I don't know, talk around to me?
He's probably here to make sure I don't mess up.
We're supposed to be using the buddy system.
Yeah, I
Where's your
count as a
buddy
buddy. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're supposed to be using the buddy system right now.
Oh,
If he's still even remotely on top of her, she's gonna like shove, kick, and so she can get back up into a seated position.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Lucas is gonna go ahead and start to walk over to the new cub, circle around her once, twice. Very excited.
Lucas, plant your butt.
Butt gets planted.
She makes a point of scooching over a little bit away. A little bit away. He's weird.
So, what I was trying to say, before I got tackled so rudely, puts her nose up briefly. Clearly, she's just playing around, but so she'll take a paw and plop it down on the first symbol. This is the new moon. This is the symbol. Oh, pardon. Those who are born under this moon are called ragabashes, like Lucas. Point. The ragabashes are the ones that are, among other things, they are the questioner of the ways. I will teach you the litany as best I can remember, but they are the ones who their job is to question the way we do things, to remind us that sometimes the old ways are not necessarily the best ways.
Okay.
They are also, as you could see there, sneaky fuckers.
Tail high, novel head.
They are sneaky. They're usually very clever. They make
Usually.
good spies. I say usually because Albert. But they're usually very clever. They make very good spies. They're usually the ones who will take point to scout out a situation before the rest of the pack comes.
Mm-hmm.
They're also the ones who have to remind us sometimes that sometimes you have to laugh. Sometimes something is so absurd or so wrong and you have to remember how to laugh. Or how to laugh at yourself.
Oh.
That's only the first auspice.
Mm-hmm. So she'll pick up her paw, plop it down again, this time on just the scuff of a crescent moon. So this is the crescent moon. This is our auspice. We are the Theurge. And as you go up this line, it's going to become clearer and clearer that the less of the moon there is when you're born, the less of the rage there is in you, the more varied what you do are, the less warlike. We are the Theurges. We are the spirit speakers. This place,
That
and she
work.
kind of poke her nose around, this is the Umbra, and this is a place where you should learn to become very comfortable. And she will, I'll take a moment. In the Umbra, everything's a little bit off, but another thing that she'll find especially probably interesting as a Theurge is that everything feels very alive. Everything has a spirit in it. Those trees over there, you can probably imagine that you can see like sleepy faces in the bark. The wind, when it goes by, you can kind of see a spirit dancing in it. Even the ground has a spirit in it. Everything has a spirit. So it is a very live place.
Oh, you left your folder on the table. Sorry.
So it's kind of a reality check. So she'll gesture around. When we need something, well, first off, we are part spirit, and we have to remember that, and we have to make sure that we maintain a relationship with the spirits, just like in the real world we have to maintain a relationship with the people around us. It is our job to go to them to make sure they're happy, to make sure they're content, to make sure that they have what they need. There's also things we can do, and she'll pat her chest, and there is, even in Lupus, a small necklace hanging around her neck, a little wooden pendant of a dove. We can also do things like bargain with the spirits for favors.
Cool.
I have a dove spirit right now in this necklace, and should something happen, should we stumble across, I don't know, I hate to say a bear because bear is actually a very kindly spirit, but should something happen, should you be injured, I could activate this item, and essentially the dove spirit would come out and it would heal you, and then it would be freed back to whatever it wished to do and its natural place. There are also items that you can make that are more permanent, that you have to you have to forge a much deeper bargain with the spirit, a much grander bargain with the spirit, because it may be stuck in that item for a very long time. So she'll glance around. By the way, because we are in the Umbra, she is glowing.
Pretty.
I always forget to mention that offhand, but she is literally glowing. And she'll kind of point her nose around.
Shed glasses.
not like insanely. It's not like sunlight. It's like moonlight. So it's a soft lambent glow. She'll poke her nose around and search for the doves or any other familiar spirits. But honestly, with it being towards evening time, it's less likely there will be any about. So this is what we do. We speak to the spirits. We curry their favor, and sometimes we bargain with them to get favors.
Mm-hmm.
In my case, the reason that I look the way I do, and she'll kind of paw at her ruff a little bit, the reason I look how I do is that in some way I am related to spirits from the moon. And that link between me and them is so strong that it is visible. It kind of manifests itself.
Pretty.
There are a couple people who have similar things. My old den father, Katori, Katori Raya, he is linked to, I think it must be the owl. And it's interesting. His front paws are talons in the Umbra, and he has feathers in his fur. It's interesting. But this is what we do. So she'll pick up her paw and plop it next on the half-moon symbol. The half-moon is the moon of the Philodoxes. Philodoxes are, well, I mean, if you look at the symbol, Philodoxes are the judges. They have to keep balance in the people. So they are the ones who remember and translate the laws for us. They're the ones who, when we do something wrong, they decide whether or not we've broken the law. They decide what our punishment is. Olaf is a Philodox, our den father. He's a very kind and fair Philodox, as Philodoxes go, at least from my experience. Recently, maybe a little more temperamental, but generally very nice and very fair. The Philodoxes, like I said, they are the judge, the jury, sometimes the executioner, really. She kind of looks at Lucas. She's starting to trail off a bit. What am I missing?
No, you've got it pretty damn good. Let's see. As far as it relates to the theurges, sometimes a Philodox may be called in to, well, pass judgments on what kind of deals the theurge may make with the spirit, whether or not it's beneficial or detrimental to the sept at large. They may be called upon to make official judgments of rulings of the sept and its leaders, but other than that, the theurs and the Philodox don't have much in common.
Noddle.
However, the Philodox, the half moon, is the point where, well, rage becomes an issue. It is one step removed from the Galliard and the Arun, who have very, very interesting interactions with the rest of the world.
Oh.
We'll go over the rage thing again in just a second. I want to finish this bit first, though. So she'll pick up her paw and pat it on the essentially three-quarters moon. This is the gibbous moon. This is the moon of the Galliard. Now, the Galliards are a little more... The Philodoxes are capable fighters. The Galliards are a little more warlike. But these are the tale singers. These are the people who remember the lessons of the people. Much of what we learn, much of what is passed on through word of mouth. I'm sure there is some written record, but not nearly as much as there is spoken word. The Galliards are the performers and the singers. They can lead rites and howls. They remember for the rest of us, and they are called upon to learn the lessons and repeat them and pass them on generation to generation. I haven't done as much with Galliards. I understand that this is the basics, but Lucas, what else do you know about them?
Galliards, they are the storytellers, they are the historians. When you need to know something, some ancient lore, you go to them. As far as it relates to the Theurge Auspice, sometimes it is wise to walk over to the Galliards to see if any great Theurge has made any sort of bargain, maybe to get a sort of a precedent for what type of deals that you can get from a particular spirit. Also, don't discount them in combat. Also, don't discount them as leaders. If you've ever seen a Galliard go ahead and coordinate an entire battlefield before, you'll know the strength of that auspice.
They can be very passionate people, if you think about it.
And since we're not going over the rage right now, continue.
Nope, we'll do that as soon as we get to the end of this one. So lastly, she'll pick up her paw and plop it over the more thickly lined circular moon. This is the full moon. These are the Aruns. Talia is one of the female cubs. She is an Arun. There is also Chino. You'll recognize him. He's covered in tattoos. He is an Arun. And Nicholas, who you met last night, the Metis, he is also an Arun. The Aruns are the warriors. They are the ones who, more than anyone else, they are the ones on the front lines. They are the strongest. They are the most vicious. They are the most full of Luna's rage. And so they are the ones who lead the battle, as it were, physically. And since we've gotten to that point, she'll kind of take her paw, plop it next to the full moon, and then drag it down the line, and then kind of scuff a little arrow. From here, the ones who are born under Luna at her fullest, she is swollen with rage at that point. That is Luna's most vicious, most aggressive phase. And I don't know, well, you have felt it because your first change was a violent one. That rage, that just incredible ancestral anger that bubbled up in you, that almost instinctual desire to kill and to hunt, that is the rage. And Luna gives it to each of us, but the more full your moon, the more of it you have.
So they don't have that much rage?
Not compared to anyone with... Yeah, she kind of plops her paw next to that and scuffs it upwards again. Anyone with more of a moon visible when they were born is going to have more of that rage than we do. We actually are pretty low on the scale for that. I actually did not frenzy my first change, which is strange, but happens, I guess, sometimes. I have frenzied before, but only once. And that is what happens when the rage bubbles out of control. And she'll look to Lucas since he's been kind of antsy-dancy to further talk on rage and probably knows more about it than her, honestly.
The rage. The rage! It's wonderful. It's awesome. It is terribly fucking destructive. Rage can fuel mighty, mighty gifts. Rage can make you faster, stronger, and rage can let you just pounce on a motherfucker and tear them to pieces. Rage is wonderful. Rage is awful. Rage is so fucking terrible because at a moment's notice, that same rage that would help you win the battle is also something that may lead you to harm people who don't really need it. And oh, believe me, if you get the chance to walk off this set, if you just been a little bit pissed off,
Hold on a second. She poofed.
Oh.
Quick, elevator music, go!
Technical difficulties, na-na-na-na-na. We has them, na-na-na-na-na. Working on getting that girl's connection back to track. It's been a while since I've done the technical difficulty song.
I feel like I need to start the Mario song. We're just going to go through obnoxious music until she comes back.
I didn't think my voice was that terrible.
Oh no, the songs themselves are obnoxious, not your voice. Jesus. Yay! You're muted, hon.
Hey, sorry about that. My internet just kind of
Hiccuped.
frazzled. Yeah, hiccup big time.
It's okay.
What
We had elevator music. It's all good.
what did you hear last?
She scuffed something, and then that was it. She was talking about Luna's rage and how the rage don't have as much compared to the others, and that was about it.
All right, start your tirade over.
All right. Starting Lucas's tirade over. Rage.
Karma!
It's that primal energy inside all of us. We are all given a piece in part of it. It drives us on to go ahead and improve our worth, improve our stance, and to fight, as well as hunt and attack, destroy all those wonderful, wonderful things. You use the rage inside you to instantly take whatever form you need. You can use it to be faster and stronger in battle. And you are gifted it throughout most of the day, and it's the reason that you will never really have a moment's peace so long as you're walking on this Gaia-given earth. It's wonderful and terrible. It'll lead you on to many victories in battle. Lead you on to tear apart any mofo you see, but it can also lead you to some really bad decisions when you're not on the battlefield. If you look towards the Philodoxes, the Galliards, and the Aruns, and a very, very bad day, and if they're not really paying attention, if they're not disciplined enough, that rage will pretty much let them fly off the handle in a really, really bad way, called a frenzy. Now, people, if you get the chance to walk out of the Sept, and you've been pretty pissed off already, you've got more of Luna's rage to you, you'll notice that people react differently to you. They will avoid you instinctively. It's something that even they don't quite understand. It's the curse. The curse will drive people away from you the more angry you are. Make sense?
Sort of, yeah, just... Wow, that kind of sucks.
It's one of the downsides is that you carry so much of that, and if you think about it, under your skin, there's a wolf. The part of you is wolf. And thankfully, as a theurge, there's not as much boiling under there, but there are some people who can kind of feel that. It's kind of like if you've ever gone to a party or a club and there was someone who just tweaked you the wrong way and set you off and made you uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it's like. It doesn't make them necessarily like horribly crazy afraid, but they'll kind of avoid you because they'll sense that something's a little wrong. In the case of someone, and in the case of someone like Olaf, he used to have, well, more than his fair share. Probably still does. And I mean, I went to get coffee with him, and the people even at the register would avoid him and make excuses not to take care of him because he tweaked them wrong. This is one of the reasons that kinfolk are so fantastic to have around, is that sometimes there are things that are just harder for us to do, and they can pass in the normal world without making ripples.
That explains a lot.
The other thing that he said that is a very good point is that rage is a weapon. It's a weapon that Luna has given us to fight for Gaia. But like any weapon, you can turn it on your enemies, but if you're not careful, you can use it to hurt your friends as well. Yes. And yourself. Now, after Rage, we'll talk about Gnosis. And she'll kind of, sitting there, she'll focus for a second. It's kind of a visible process that her eyes kind of shift as if she's looking off that away rather than at you. She's looking past you. And with a little bit of concentration, she'll kind of heave up a little bit and open her maw and spill forth a little globe of green light. And she'll kind of duck her head under it and balance it on top of her muzzle. This is Gnosis.
But also cool. Gross.
And it wasn't. It's kind of weird to manifest, and it seems like it's partially how you prefer to do it. I imagine it is coming out of my center, and in this form, this is how I imagine it works, so this is how it shows. But this is Gaia's gift to us, is this connection to her, this magic. And you should have, hopefully, a decent amount as well. This is part of how we interact with the spirits. This is part of how we feed them and bargain with them. We have this, and it renews in us. And the spirits, they value it. This makes them stronger. It makes them bigger. Give me one moment.
And she's just gonna look at the green orb that she's holding and be like, it's kind of cool, but at the same time, really gross. Like, ugh. But still super cool. Like, the implications could be awesome.
Yeah, it is really gross. What else is really gross?
Scabs. Scabs are gross. Blood is really gross because it's squishy and sticky and it gets everywhere.
I know. It's hell to clean up, isn't it?
It really is, especially when, like, something is filled with blood and it just squirts everywhere. You're just like, oh god, no, not everywhere. And you get it under your nails, and it's like a real pain in the butt to get out. Just look at it clogs. It's just like,
oh dear lord, dear lord. You should probably crash in on one of the kinfolk crafting sessions when they've got all their kits and tools out. And you can notice it in the first 30 minutes or so. They're all like diligently at work with all the textiles, and then just the 1 second somebody will scream, ah! And all that blood will go ahead and squirt off, and everybody will go ahead and praise, thank you, you were the first one. We can go ahead and have the sewing circle in peace now.
Well, I'm not a stranger to getting sliced by accident, because, you know, cooking, it's dangerous. But like, sewing, like, it punctures you. It's not like a slice where it's just like, oh, it's just a little bit off the top. It's like flat. You're just like, oh god, no, where does it end? Where does it end?
Look.
About that.
I was once having a haircut, right? Look at me, I'm a freaking hippie. So I was getting a haircut once.
She looks at the fur like, yeah, you're a hippie.
You should see me in Hollywood. In fact, you
Trust
did see
me,
me
he's
in
totally
Hollywood.
a hippie.
I was getting my haircut, right?
I'll take your word for it.
And the stylist behind me was like working on it, and I feel something splatter against my neck, and I turn around, and she's accidentally sliced open the little bit of skin between your finger and your thumb, and she's like holding it right, going, ah! And I just go ahead and turn around and say, can I get somebody else? Anybody else right now?
And
You're terrible.
No, he was reasonable, because, like, no. No, that's a lot of no.
I'll tell you.
Your neck. You could like leave the station with a Van Gogh and not even realize it.
I gotta tell you more about how to handle blood and clean it out of a carpet after this one.
Oh gosh. Yeah, he'll go on for hours, so I'm gonna look at him funny. But
cool.
So yes, Gnosis. This is our magic. This is the thing that we are going to use the most. This is something you can use to pay the spirits, to bribe the spirits, to feed the spirits. We were able to, with everyone giving a share of their Gnosis, make a small fire spirit so large that it essentially exploded to the size to consume a building.
Cool.
You also have to be careful because the spirits very much want this. So I have learned a valuable lesson about making sure that you don't give them more than they absolutely need or deserve. You have to actually make a deal, because if you let them push you into giving more than they should, you'll be considered a pushover. It's like dealing with anyone else. But this is the gift of Gaia, while rage is the gift of Luna. And she'll just kind of swallow it back down. My nose.
Should go
Oh,
up to
come
the
on.
corner.
It's just energy.
Let's swallow Paul. Like, wait a moment. Hold on. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. Please don't do that again. For the
Okay,
foreseeable
I'll
future.
do it differently next time. Sorry.
Just not right now. Hold on.
Okay, so we were going to use this to segue into Gaia. She'll point up to what I assume is a very slender crescent, if a crescent at all right now. Let me check really fast. And doop, doop. Oh yeah, it is definitely a crescent right now. So she'll gesture up. So Luna is one of our mothers, and then she'll pop her paw on the ground. Gaia is our mother. Now, like I've said before, Gaia created the Garu, pretty much to defend her against the worm. We are her teeth and claws. The moon gives us a position within that people and determines our role in being part of that big fight against the worm. But the important thing to understand is that the worm was not always a tainted and corrupted thing. It wasn't always evil and wrong. And so she'll scoot back a little bit, and this time again using her paw, will kind of scuff rough symbols into the dirt. And again, I'll shoot you a list of what the glyphs look like after the scene. And she'll draw 3 symbols in kind of a triangular configuration. And she'll kind of look to Lucas. Feel free to totally catch me if I start doing this wrong. Gaia created the triad. Now what?
You assume as such. Who has taught you as such?
Kotori?
Oh, then I will not correct him in his teachings.
What is the other version you have heard? Because it is good to understand all aspects of it.
Well, there are different interpretations of the triad, different interpretations of Gaia within the triad. Some would say that Gaia is of the triad. Some would say that the triad is the manifestation of Gaia. But in any case, nobody knows or can properly tell whether or not the triad was created alongside with Gaia, or Gaia went ahead and created the triad for herself.
Okay. So, the triad. And she'll pop a paw over each symbol in turn. There is the wild, there is the weaver, and there is the worm. And this is kind of like a creation/destruction thing. The wild is pure chaotic creation. It is where everything is supposed to come from, I believe, where everything is made. So the wild's duty is to create and create and create. And it doesn't necessarily think about creation or what it's creating. It does. It does this thing. And then the weaver, and she'll pop her paw over that one, the weaver takes what the wild makes, and it gives it a sort of order. It gives it, if you think about it, the wild may make wolves and rabbits and everything else, all these other creatures, and the weaver is the one that says this one is prey, this one is a predator, this is how they live their lives, this is the order to all this stuff that has been made. And then as it goes on, she'll pop her paw to the wild, or the worm, pardon, she'll pop her paw over that one. The worm is, or was, destruction. It was the end of those things. It was the worm's job to destroy and consume eventually all the things that were created. And this is how the triad was meant to function. Now, from what I understand, what happened is that the wild went about its duty to create, but the weaver, as it would set order to things, became either angry or jealous, or it's up for debate really, but became upset with the idea that every time it laid everything in order and it made all these rules and it created all that the worm only turned around and consumed what it made. So the weaver in a kind of a spiteful act, instead of setting its attention where it should upon the things that were being created, turned on the worm itself and bound it. Instead of giving order, it used those strands, those webs, to bind up the worm so that the worm could not do its duty and consume things that had been created. And this is... I'm not going to go into all that theoretical stuff because I don't want to do wrong. I just want to give you the basics so you understand. So the Weaver did this to the worm in a selfish attempt to create more and more order, and it began to overproduce this sense of order and over-constrict things. Now, the worm, when it was bound, just became furious. It couldn't do what it was made to do. It couldn't do its only purpose in life. And so it thrashed in those bindings, and it went mad over time, and it became corrupt because it could not do what it was meant to do.
That sucks for it.
Mm-hmm.
Madness
So-
due to being denied.
Yeah. So the worm became tainted and it became corrupted. This is why
I've tainted it from that before.
this is why the worm in the now is a symbol of corruption and of taint and of wrongness. There is such a thing in realms like Pangea, which is a place of ancient history, essentially. Everything that has once existed exists there. There is a version of the worm there that is not tainted and twisted and wronged by what happened in the now. But normally when people speak of the worm, they speak of the corruption and the taint, and yeah.
The contemporary worm.
Yep. And that is why we fight the worm, because now the worm is not simply doing its duty of destroying what must be destroyed and ending things that need ending. It is going above and beyond, and essentially, if you think about it, trying to catch up for lost time by spreading further taint and corruption to destroy more than it's meant to destroy and to twist things that it can't directly destroy.
Overachieving because of lost time.
Mm-hmm. Many Garu are not fond of the Weaver either, because the Weaver, and she'll poke her nose towards the city, which should be at least a little bit visible from where they are. Oh, go ahead. We can pause it here and do another lesson next time. I will assume that something shall come up and Maya will have to go. We'll assume Leah comes to pick her up for something or another.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. No problem. And I suppose with that, we will end this scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll get into more shenanigans soon-like.